lived in a small, charming cottage nestled in a picturesque valley, surrounded by the beauty of nature. She was a kind and gentle soul, with a heart full of love and compassion for everyone around her. Her wisdom touched everyone she met, making her a beacon of light and hope in the village, always ready to offer advice and comfort. Though she lived alone, Mary was never lonely. Her home was filled with warmth and the memories of a life well lived. Her days were filled with the warmth of the sun, the laughter of children playing outside, and the simple joys of life. Mary always lent a helping hand, whether it was baking bread for a sick neighbor, sharing her delicious recipes, or mending a torn shirt with her skilled hands. Her smile had a way of chasing away clouds, bringing light and joy to those around her, and her laughter was like music to the ears, infectious and uplifting. She found joy in the simplest things, like the chirping of birds at dawn or the scent of wildflowers after the rain, which always brought a smile to her face. Mary was content with her life, finding happiness in the everyday miracles that surrounded her, appreciating the beauty in every moment. The villagers adored Mary. They visited her often, bringing her fresh vegetables from their gardens and stories from the outside world. Children would gather around her, eager to listen to her tales of fairies and talking animals. Mary, in turn, learned about their lives, offering words of encouragement and sharing her wisdom. One sunny afternoon, a young boy named Thomas rushed to Mary's cottage. "Mary, Mary!" he exclaimed. "My father caught the biggest fish in the river today. He said he's going to bring some over for you." Mary smiled. "That's wonderful, Thomas," she said. "Your father is a kind man." She offered him some freshly baked cookies, and he sat on her porch, happily munching away while telling her about his day. One crisp autumn morning, Mary decided to venture into the nearby woods to gather herbs for her teas. The forest floor was a tapestry of reds, oranges, and yellows, and the air was alive with the sound of rustling leaves. As she walked, she noticed something shimmering under a patch of ferns. Curious, she brushed aside the leaves and gasped. There, nestled amongst the roots of an ancient oak, was a pot of gold. The coins gleamed brightly in the dappled sunlight, and Mary's heart skipped a beat. She had never seen so much gold in her life. For a moment, she stood there, mesmerized by the sight. Thoughts raced through her mind. She could buy a new dress, a bigger cottage, maybe even a cow. Section 4. The Weight of Wishes. Mary bent down and lifted the pot, feeling its cool, smooth surface against her hands. It was heavier than she expected, but she managed to carry it a short distance, her muscles straining with the effort. As she walked, she noticed something strange in the air, a sense of unease that she couldn't quite place. The gleam of the gold seemed to be fading, replaced by a dull silver, as if the pot was losing its magic. She stopped, her brow furrowed in confusion, trying to understand what was happening. She rubbed a coin between her fingers, and to her astonishment, it turned completely silver, the transformation almost instantaneous. Mary continued walking, her heart growing heavier with each step, the weight of her worries pressing down on her. The silver coins, one by one, began to turn into iron, their luster completely gone. The once bright pot was now filled with heavy, dull iron coins, a stark contrast to its former glory. A wave of disappointment washed over Mary, followed by a strange sense of relief, as if a burden had been lifted. The weight of the pot, both physically and metaphorically, was beginning to wear her down, making each step more difficult than the last. Section 5. Homeward Bound. Mary stopped and looked around her, taking in the sights and sounds of the forest. The forest, which had seemed so magical moments ago, now felt oppressive and foreboding. She realized that the gold, the silver, the iron, none of it truly mattered in the grand scheme of things. Her happiness wasn't tied to material possessions or wealth. It came from the love she shared with her neighbors, the bonds that held them together, the joy she found in helping others, in making a difference in their lives, and the simple beauty of the world around her, the flowers, the sunsets, the gentle breeze. With a newfound lightness in her heart, Mary left the pot of iron coins under the oak tree, a symbol of her release from material desires. She walked back through the forest, her footsteps lighter than ever, feeling a sense of freedom. She thought of Thomas's excitement over the fish he had caught earlier, the warm smiles of her neighbors, their faces lighting up with joy, and the stories she would share that evening around the campfire. tales of adventure and discovery. Mary arrived home with a heart full of contentment, knowing she was exactly where she needed to be. She knew that true happiness couldn't be found in a pot of gold, no matter how brightly it shimmered or how much it was worth. It was found in the love she cultivated and the kindness she shared with those around her. And that, she realized, was more valuable than all the gold in the world, a treasure beyond measure.